I want to talk to you about what it takes for us to become the spiritual leader in our family. If you're the head of your household, God has put you in a position to be the spiritual leader. You know, for most of us, it's Dad. Dad, you've got to become the spiritual leader. Here's how you do it. I thought, man, the spiritual leader, is that the person who knows the most about God or has been a Christian the longest or has read the Bible the most? No. The spiritual leader is simply the person who initiates spiritual things. What is it that you can do to initiate spiritual things in your family? And really, it's the most powerful thing you can do is have your own personal quiet time, your personal Bible reading and prayer time. And actually, you want your family to see you engaged in seeking God, in reading the Word, and writing in your journal. There's some powerful things that will happen as you lead your family spiritually. So how do you know if you've put God first, that He is the first place in your life, that you really do have your priorities in order? Well, really, if you've put God first, that means that the time you've set aside for spending alone with God, nothing can get in the way of that time. If nothing can get in the way of the time you've set aside for God, that one day a week, when you take your family to church, if almost nothing can get in the way of that, then God is your first priority. I used to think, well, no, your top priority is the thing you spend the most time doing. Well, then that would mean that the time I spend working and sleeping would be my two most important priorities, and that's not true. The thing that makes it your top priority is that it's not the amount of time you spend doing it, it's that the time you've set aside for it, nothing gets in the way of it. That becomes your number one priority. If something's always getting in the way of you spending time alone with God, but you going to church, then whatever that is has become your top priority. Same way with you building a relationship with your spouse. If you're married, your goal, your job is to put them as the second place. God is first, your spouse is second. How do you disciple your entire family on the importance of putting your spouse as the second most important priority? It's the time you've set aside for them. You've set aside a date night or a time to what we call couch time. A lot of people say, Greg, we can't do a date night. Our kids are young. It's expensive to go out on a date. Then I'm asking you just to do a 30-minute couch time every day so that you two can download your day to each other. I'm telling you, there's something powerful about you sitting on the couch. The kids are all told, look, you can stay in the room here, but you can't talk while Mom and Dad are talking. This is our time. We're going to sit down together, we're going to talk, and they can observe. Guys, you cannot imagine what that does. There's so many of us who grew up in families and never saw our parents sitting down together, discussing, showing each other honor and respect in the same room. You know, we saw our parents communicating, but it was very high-pitched communication, if you know what I'm saying, right? So you're going to begin to show that your spouse is your second most important person in your life next to God. And so you're beginning to be that spiritual leader. You are discipling your family. I'm telling you, that is the key. You're going to disciple your children to become great at relationships. Relationship with God, you're going to disciple them by letting them see an example of you relating to, building up, and serving each other in your home. That's discipleship. You're discipling them one day when they get into their marriage and their relationships. They're going to have that. They've seen it happen in their own home. Third is you're going to build and enhance and develop your relationship with each of your children. God has given you your children to disciple them. I really believe that as we disciple our children and then one day we disciple our grandchildren, there is something powerful. We can change the world by just discipling. The most important ministry is our family. The first and most important ministry that we have is to our family. And then the first and most important disciples are our children and our grandchildren. We can truly see God's grace and mercy go into every generation of our family by simply acting as the example of being the spiritual leader in your home. So if you would, download the information on the link so that you can start building, enhancing, and developing and keeping your priorities in the right place.